Hi everyone, welcome to this video. In this tutorial, we're gonna go ahead and implement the social media activity. So let's get started. So in this tutorial, we're gonna go ahead and add an image view to our layout here. And then we are going to allow the user to select an image from the device's gallery or camera. And then we are going to put that image inside our image view. Then we are going to have a button that is going to allow the user to create an image post and send it to the server. So when the image is sent to the server successfully without any problems, then we are going to allow the user to write a description about that image, and then we are going to show the other users of the application here inside a list view. So next, we are going to allow the user to select one of the users and send the post with a description to that specific user. So let's see how it's done. First, let's go ahead and open our project. Open the project navigator, layout. Let's go to this activity social media.xml file. Now I'm gonna go ahead and drag an image view. But first, let's go to the pixabay.com and download an image so we have a placeholder for our image view. So here, let's go ahead and select an image. So I'm gonna choose one of these images here. Let's choose this one. And let's click on free download. Let's choose this resolution, 640 by 427, and I'm gonna click on download. So now we need to go ahead and change the name of our image. So we only have a simple name for our image. We can change it to placeholder. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna select this image and I'm gonna just change it to placeholder. Okay, .jpg. Now I'm gonna go ahead and copy this image, right click on it, copy. Let's go to our Android Studio. So here, and then I'm gonna just right click on this drawable folder and then click on paste. So make sure that you have selected the drawable folder, click on OK. And then, so here you can see that it is specifying the name of the image. So here I have two .jpg. I'm gonna delete one of them. So we only have placeholder.jpg. So you can just edit the name of your image here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click on OK. So inside this drawable folder, now we have this placeholder. I'm gonna go ahead and drag an image view inside my layout. So I'm gonna search for image view, and then I'm gonna drag it here. So first, before adding the image view to our layout, let's go ahead and change the constraint layout to a linear layout. And let's set the orientation of our linear layout to be vertical. And let's switch to the design tab. Now, let's just put this welcome text at the center horizontal of our linear layout. So just select this text view. Let's click on view all attributes and search for gravity. Let's select the layout gravity, open it, and just check the center horizontal checkbox. Now let's drag this image view here, and then let's search for the placeholder. Just select it here and then click on OK. So now let's change the layout width and the layout height of our image view. So the layout width should be match parent, but the layout height, let's set it to be 150 dp. Now I think it's good. And let's drag a button here below our image view, and let's select it and let's specify an ID to be btn create post, and let's set the text to be create an image post. Okay, now that's good. Let's drag an edit text here. So I'm gonna select this text tab, and I'm gonna drag this plain text below this button. So let's delete the text of this edit text. Let's set the ID to be edt description or des, and then let's set the visibility of our edit text to be invisible. So let's search for visibility and let's open it and just select invisible, because when the user creates a post and uploads the image to the server, and when this task is successful, then we are going to show this edit text to the user. So the user can provide a description about the image that is uploaded. So next, we're gonna go ahead and drag a list view to our layout. So I'm gonna search for list view and then put it below this edit text. So when you select this list view, let's specify an ID. So the ID should be list view, or let's say users list view. Okay, now everything is fine. Now we need to go to our Java class. So open the Java folder. The first package, we have the social media activity. So inside this class, we need to go ahead and initialize our UI components. So we have an image view, which is going to be so I think I didn't specify an ID for this image view. So just select it and let's say that the ID to be post image view. And then here I'm gonna name it as post image view, semicolon. Then we have a button, private button, btn create post, semicolon. Next we have an edit text, so it should be private, and the name is going to be edt description, semicolon. And then we have a list view, so private list view, and the name is going to be users list view. Okay, now let's go inside our onCreate method and initialize our UI components. So the first one is going to be post image view, find view by ID, r.id.post image view. Next we have the btn create post, find view by ID, r.id.btn create post. Next we have the edt description assignment operator, find view by ID, r.id.edt description or des, semicolon. And finally we have the users list view, find view by ID, r.id.users list view. Okay, now let's specify an onClick listener for our button. So btn create post dot set onClick listener, new view that onClick listener, and also let's specify an onClick listener for our image view. So post image view dot set onClick listener, new view that onClick listener. So here, let me tell you that we want, when the user taps on the image view, we want to go ahead and just select an image from the device's gallery or camera. So you already know how to do that. So just stop the video and go ahead and implement this feature. Then continue watching this tutorial. So here inside our class, I have created an instance variable, and the data type of my variable is bitmap. The name is bitmap. So next, let me show you what we have here. So we have a method called select image that I have created inside this class. So when this method is executed, it's gonna go ahead and get the image. So first we need to go ahead and ask for the runtime permission. But first we need to go into our manifest file and we need to declare our permission here. So I'm gonna say uses permission, and I'm gonna type in here external storage. So let's choose this one, read external storage, and then close it. Let's go back to our activity. So here inside this method, I'm going to say if build.version.stkint is less than 23, then go ahead and access this intent in order to get the image. So the first argument is going to be intent.actionPick, and the second argument is going to be media store.images.media.external content URI. And then we are going to start the activity for result. So we pass the intent and we pass the request code. So after this if statement, we have another if statement. So here, let me choose an else if statement, because this if statement should be executed if this one is evaluated to false. So we have else if the build.version.stkint is greater than or equal to 23, then go ahead and ask for the permission. So if the user has not already given us to access the read external storage permission, so if it is not equal to package manager dot permission granted, then go ahead and ask for the permissions. So request permissions, and here you can see that I passed read external storage and the request code is 1000. After this if statement, we have an else statement. So this means that the user has already given us the permission. So in that case, we're going to go ahead and just call this intent action pick, and then we can call the start activity for result. Next, we have the onRequest permission result. So if the request code is equal to 1000, so this code is related to the permission code that we specified above, and the grant results, the first value of the index 0 is equal to the package manager that permission granted, then go ahead and call the select image method. So after it is done, we have the onActivity result. So when the user has selected an image, or when the user has chosen an image, it's gonna execute this onActivity result. So if the request code is 1000, so this one is related to the request code that we specified for our image, for selecting an image. When we called the start activity for result, we passed number 1000. And then if the result code is the result okay, and the user has actually selected an image here, if the result is okay, and the data that we get is not equal to null, then we can go inside this if statement and we are going to access the image data. So URI chosen image data. So we get the image data from this data parameter. So data.getData. Then we have a try catch block. Inside this try block, we are going to initialize the bitmap variable that we created as an instance variable inside our class. So bitmap assignment operator, media store.images.media.getBitmap. First, we need to pass the getContent resolver. So this .getContent resolver, and then we pass the chosen image data. And then we are going to say postImageView.setImageBitmap. And then inside this catch block, we are printing the stack trace. So that's it. Now let's go ahead and run our application. But first, make sure that you have called the select image inside the onClick method of this postImageView.setOnClickListener. So let's run our app. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on this image view. So it's going to ask for a permission. I'm going to click on allow. So it says the device folder is empty. So I'm going to go ahead and just capture some image from the camera application. So now let's select an image, another one. Okay, now let's go back to our app, and then let's click on this image view again, camera. Let's select this image. So here you can see that this image is put as the image of our image view. Next, we need to go ahead and upload this image to the Firebase server. But in order to do that, we need to have the storage. We need to have the Firebase storage added to our project. So here I'm gonna go ahead and find the storage code, the dependency code. So here, let's see whether we can find the Firebase storage here. So here it is, the cloud storage, and I'm gonna just copy this line of code. You can see that it says com.google.firebase, firebase-storage. So this is the version. So let's go to our Android Studio, and then let's go and open the build.gradle module app. And then let's just type in here implementation. Let's put 2 single quotes here and paste the code here. Now I'm gonna sync the project now. Okay, now that the Firebase storage is added to our project, we can go to our server and here make sure that the storage is selected. So let's click on get started. And here you can see that we have the security rules. So it says by default, your rules allow all reads and writes. Once you have defined your data structure, you will have to write rules to secure your data specific to your app. So let's click on got it. Now it's gonna set up the storage for us. So now that the storage is configured for us, you can see some data here. So in order to upload a file from our Java code, we need to go ahead and take a look at the documentation. So at the top right corner, you can see that it says go to docs. If I click on it, it's gonna open a new tab for me, firebase.google.com/docs/offer user equal to 0. Now we need to go ahead and click on get started for Android. And then let's take a look at the documentation here. We have selected the Android. And now I'm gonna just select the storage, just open it. And I'm gonna open the Android and I'm gonna click on upload files. So let's click on it. So now in order to upload a file to the server, here you can see that it says upload from data in memory. So let's choose this one. I'm gonna go ahead and copy these codes here. And then let's go ahead and go into our Android Studio. And let's go into our social media activity class. And then I'm gonna go ahead and create a new method inside our class. So before the ending curly brace of our social media activity class, I'm gonna type in here private void, and the name is going to be upload image to server, a pair of parentheses, and then just go ahead and open your method by using these curly braces. Let's go ahead and paste our codes here. So let's see what we have here. It says get the data from an image view as bytes. So you can see that it is referring to an image view. So we are going to put post image view here instead. So post image view dot set join cache enabled true. And then I'm going to type in here post image view dot build join cache. And then it's going to ask access the bitmap. So we already have the bitmap. So I'm going to delete this line of code. And then we have the byte array output stream, new byte array output stream. And then it's saying that bitmap.compress, bitmap.compress format. So instead of JPEG, let's choose PNG as the format. The quality is 100, and it is passing the byte array output stream here as the first argument of our compress method. Next, we have an array of byte. So byte array output stream dot 2 byte array. Now we can go ahead and upload our image that is now an array of bytes to the server. So we have something called upload task. So instead of saying mountains ref.put bytes, let me just delete this piece of code and let's initialize our upload task another way. So here, let's say Firebase storage. So when you add the Firebase storage library to your project, now we should be able to refer to it. Dot get instance dot get reference. So here, when you go to the server and when we go to our Firebase storage, here you can see that we have our root here, the root of our Firebase storage. So that's why I typed in here Firebase storage.getInstance.getReference. So now I'm going to add a child to my root, to the Firebase storage root. So I'm going to type in here dot child, two quotes, and inside the double quotes, I'm going to say my underline images. And then I'm going to specify another child for this, my images. So I'm going to type in here dot child. So here we are going to specify the name of our image. So each image should have a unique name. So for now, I'm just going to type in here image identifier. We haven't still defined this variable yet. I'm just going to put the image identifier, and then we need to call the dot put bytes, and then we just need to pass the bytes, this variable data that we created here. So I'm going to pass the data here, semicolon. So now we need to go ahead and define this image identifier. So let me just copy this name and let's scroll to the top into our class, because we are going to have an instance variable. So private, and the name is going to be, or the data type is going to be string. The name is going to be image identifier. So how we can initialize it? In order to initialize it, we need to go into our upload image to the server. So whenever we are going to upload an image to the server, we need to have a unique name for that image. So that's why I'm gonna initialize my image identifier variable here inside this method. So image identifier assignment operator. So how we can have a unique name for our image? So that is your challenge. Go ahead and search online and that how we can find or how we can access a unique image name for our names in Java. So give this challenge your best shot and good luck. So hopefully you have solved this challenge. But in Java, we have a class called UUID that we get from the java.util package. And then we can call the random UUID. And then we need to just convert it to a string value. So let me show you. The return type of this method is UUID. I'm going to call the toString method on it in order to convert it to a string value. And then I am going to add, or I'm going to concatenate this value with the .png, semicolon. So here, let me tell you that because we are concatenating this value with the .png, we don't have to call the toString method here, because this syntax is going to automatically convert this UUID to a string value. So this is going to be our image name, and it's gonna generate a unique value for our images. And when we say .png, we are going to just say that we have an image name, a unique image name, and it is going to be of type PNG. So this is the syntax that you need to use. And here you can see that for this upload task, we pass this image identifier. Now that we have this upload task set up, here we can see that it says upload task.add on failure listener. So this on failure method is going to be called when the uploading process is failed. So we can show a toast message here, and we can say .make text. So first we need to pass the context, which is going to be the social media activity.des, comma. The message is going to be, for example, I can say exception. I can just refer to this exception.toString. And then the length is going to be long.show. And here we have also this one, the add-on success listener. So when the uploading task is successful, then it's gonna just execute this onSuccess method. So here we can have a toast message again and say that the uploading process is successful. So I'm gonna just type in here, uploading process was successful. Okay, now that we have set up this toast message, Now we need to go ahead and call this method. So we need to go into our onClick method of our btn create post, and I'm gonna say upload image to server. So now let's go ahead and run our application. So now let me tell you that when I click on this button here without selecting an image, our application is going to crash. So let's see. Now you can see that my app is crashed. Why? Because we have declared the bitmap here, and we only initialized this bitmap inside the onActivityResult method. So when we don't select or when we don't choose an image from the device, the bitmap variable will not be initialized. And that's why when I go ahead and upload the image to the server, it's gonna call this compress method on a null object. So that's why this error happens. So before executing all of these codes that is going to upload this image to the server, I'm gonna say if bitmap is not equal to null, so I'm gonna put a pair of parentheses, bitmap is not equal to null, then go ahead and execute all of these uploading codes. So I'm gonna put the ending curly brace here after the ending parentheses here and the semicolon. So if the bitmap is null, we don't want to execute all of these uploading codes. So let's go ahead and run our application again and make sure that this problem is solved. So let me click on this create an image post. So our application is not crashed. Let's click on this image view. Let's select an image. So now we can go ahead and click on create an image post. So let's wait. We should see a toast message that says that the uploading was successful, or it might be showing us an exception here. So it says uploading process was successful. Okay, now we can go to the server, and here I'm gonna just refresh this page because it should be added here. Now I'm gonna say refresh, and here you can see that our my images is added to the Firebase storage. So I'm gonna click on my images. Now we should see our image here. So here it is, our image. If I select it, you can see all of this meta description about our image. And then we can see the file location, and we can have the download URL here. So I just copied this download URL and I'm gonna paste it here. Now we should see the image, or we can actually download this image. So here it is, the image that we uploaded to the server. So hopefully that makes sense. Now that we have successfully uploaded the image to the server, let's go to Android Studio, and then inside this onSuccess method, where that is going to indicate that the image is uploaded to the server successfully, I'm going to go ahead and set the visibility of our edit text to be visible. So edt description.set visibility view.visible. Now if I go ahead and run the app, and when we upload an image to the server, it should show us this edit text. So let's go ahead and select an image. Let's click on create an image post, and let's see what happens. So it says uploading process was successful, and then now we can see our edit text, right? So here, let me tell you that this uploading process can take a little bit of time, so you should be patient, and then when the process is finished, it's gonna just show you a toast message. So here, let's go to our XML file, and I'm gonna specify a hint value for our edit text. So I'm gonna search for hint attribute, and here I'm gonna type in here, please enter a description for your image. Please enter a description for your image. Okay, it should be set now. Now let's go back to our activity. So now that we have set the visibility of our edit text to be visible, now we need to go ahead and get all of the users of our app and show it on our list view, where inside the onSuccess method. So in order to do that, I am going to go ahead and let's scroll to the top. So here we have also declared our list view here. So we need to have an array list and an array adapter. So private, let's say we have that array list that is going to only contain string values, and it is going to be user names, semicolon. Then we have an array adapter, so private array adapter, and then its name is going to be adapter, semicolon. Let's go into our onCreate method and let's initialize our array list first. So usernames, assignment operator, new array list, semicolon, and then let's go and initialize our adapter. So new array adapter. So first we need to pass the context, comma, then we are going to specify the row of our list view. So android.r.layout.simple item list view or simple list item 1, comma, and then we need to pass the model or the usernames, semicolon. Now that we have set up our list view and the array list and the adapter, we can go down here inside this onSuccess method. When the image is uploaded to the server successfully, we can go ahead and get the usernames from the server. So by server, I mean the Firebase database. So here, if you click on this database, we should see the usernames here. So each user that is going to sign up to our application, the username is going to be added to the database. So let's wait and see. So here you can see that we have one user here and we have this Ross as the username. But here, let me tell you that we have another user, Monica, but when we signed up Monica, we didn't execute the code in order to add the username to the database. So that's why you can only see Ross here. This means that we need to go ahead and add some users to our application. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna add it here. You just need to go ahead and log out from the app and add, for example, 5 or 6 users to your application and then sign in. Then we're gonna continue. So here I have added some users to the app. So for example, I have added Sean, Jack, Rachel, and Joey. Now we need to go to our Android Studio and then inside this onSuccess method. So here let's refer to our Firebase database .get instance .get reference, and then we are going to say .child. So we want to get the child my users. So just put 2 double quotes, my underline users. And then I'm gonna say add child event listener. And then I'm gonna pass new child event listener. So new child event listener. So when we implement this interface, child event listener, it's gonna go ahead and implement some methods for us here. The first one is onChildAdded. This method is going to be executed when a value is added here to this my user's child. We have onChild changed, onChild removed, and onChild moved. So for now, we just want to work with this onChildAdded method. So when a child is added to this child, my users, this method is going to be executed. So let's go inside this method. First of all, we need to have access to our username. So I'm gonna type in here, let's go ahead and create a variable string, and I'm gonna name it as username assignment operator. Notice that we get something called data snapshot from this onChildAdded, right? So I'm gonna refer to this data snapshot parameter, and I'm gonna say get. So here you can see that we have some values, right? I'm gonna say .child. So we are going to access the child username we are going to access the child username value. So dot get value, okay, semicolon. But here, notice that we have a variable of type string, but this get value method is going to return something called an object. So we cannot assign object to our string value. So we are going to cast this one to string, okay? So in this way, we can have access to the username, which is actually the child of this my user's child. So in the server, for example, first we have the my users. So that's why we are going to refer to this my user's child. And then I said, go ahead and find the username child and then access the value of this child username. And then it's going to assign this value to our variable that we created here. Now that we have the username, we're going to go ahead and add this username to our array list. So the array list that we created above is user names dot add username. And then we just need to simply let the list view know that something is changed. So I'm going to refer to our adapter dot notify data set changed. So it seems that there is an error here in our code. So you can see that we need to put an ending semicolon here after the ending parenthesis here. Now the error is solved. So this is the only piece of code that we needed to add to this onChild added in order to populate our list view with the usernames that we get from the server. Let's go ahead and run our application. So now when we upload an image to the server, we should see the edit text as well as the list view populated by the usernames that we get from the Firebase database. Let's select an image. Let's create an image post. It says uploading process was successful. Okay, let's see what happens next. We have this edit text to be here. Now we should see a list view populated with the usernames of the users that we get from the server. So here you can see that we didn't get the data from the server, the usernames. That's because inside our onCreate method, we forgot to set the adapter for our list view. So after this adapter code, I should have said list view or users list view dot set adapter. Now let's go ahead and run our application again. So this time it should work. Let's select an image. Let's create an image post. So now it says uploading process was successful. And now we get the usernames from the server: Sean, Jack, Rachel, Joey, and Ross. So everything is working perfectly and it is working fine. So in the next tutorial, we're gonna go ahead and send the created post to another user. Thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.